Going to start off here with probably one of the most recognizable ships from the Star Trek universe. This is the Galaxy class, also known as the Enterprise D. This is everything you get that pertains to the ship. Whenever you buy an expansion, you're going to get the same sort of thing. A bunch of cards that pertain to it, captain choices, all the tokens over here that are required. We'll start off with the movement dial here. Every ship comes with a movement dial that pertains to that ship. Says the name of the ship right on there, has a picture. On the other side is where all your movement settings are. And these are how you plan what you're going to move each turn. And the types and numbers and everything that's on here change depending on the ship. Every ship comes with one of these cards, which is not going to show very well, but has a picture, has the name of the ship, the faction logo up here, and shows every maneuver that the ship is capable of and how many spaces you move to do it. So in other words, to make this hard left turn here, you're going to be going a speed of 3, and it's a red maneuver. All these are on the dial. This just gives you a quick reference of everything you can do. And that's the same for both the named and the generic version of the ship, which is what we have here. This is our Enterprise D. Camera does not want to stay in focus today. There we go. And again, you've got your unique symbol here, as you can only have one Enterprise D. Your Federation logo here. These is your attack, your defense, your hull, and your shields. This indicates that it's a ship. This is your points total over here for when you're making custom games. This line here are the abilities that you can take actions to do. For the case of the Galaxy class here, we can do evasive maneuvers, target lock, scan, or battle stations. And then this last section down here tells us what kinds of upgrades you can put on. The Enterprise D can have 2 weapon upgrades and 3 crew upgrades. And then here we have our generic Galaxy class starship. Pretty much the same stats. 1 less weapon option here and 1 less shield. It also costs less points. And the bigger difference here, if you can see the box full of text, is that the Enterprise D has a ability to let you fire your weapons 360 degrees, which is really nice. Most ships are limited to a forward or rear firing arc. So every ship you buy is going to come with 2 of these, one for the name, one for the generic. Next we go on to captain options. As you can see, the little markers down here, depending on which captain you pick, you get these nifty little captain icons that go on your ship, so you know who's piloting what ship, or in this case who's captaining. And there's one of them for each of the captains here. And of course, what would the Enterprise D be without a blurry Jean-Luc Picard? There we go. Again, he's unique. Look down here, he has this number in the bottom corner here is your captaining skill, which during movement the lower numbers go first, during shooting the higher numbers go first. 9 is the highest there is available right now. Picard up here is a special ability, lets you choose an additional one of these 4 as a free action, which is really nice. The Enterprise already has those 4, so basically you get to pick 2 of them each turn. If you put him as the captain of a ship who doesn't have one of those, you can still use one of these abilities even if the ship didn't have it. This icon here means that he can have a elite upgrade, and he costs 6 points and is a Federation. The next option we get here is William Riker. Great picture from the 90s TV show. He's also unique. He has a nifty ability that basically when you're attacked at range 1, you can make a counterattack, which is really nice. He only has a captaining skill of 6, but he's only 4 points. So I've used him a couple times. I actually like him. And then every faction is going to have your generic no-name captain. Not sure who this guy is. I recognize him from the show, but I can't place the name. But he has a captain skill of 1, and they're free. You have to have a captain on your ship, so this is your alternative if you're running out of points. And like I said, every faction has them. Now, because we looked at Picard and he had the elite upgrade, we'll grab that next. The symbol in the corner here, poke S, is a means it's an elite upgrade. It's 3 points. It's for the Federation. This one's engage. If you do a green maneuver, you can immediately do another green maneuver, but it costs you an auxiliary power token. So that's a pretty cool. On the back of these cards as well, says what they are and the faction. Next we'll go to crew options. This seems to be a big thing for the Federation. Every faction has their strengths and weaknesses. The Federation has lots of crewmen available. First we have Data here. Data is one of my favorites. He's 3 points. He lets you place 2 evasive maneuver tokens next to you instead of the normal 1 you get, which is really nice. Next we have Worf. Worf you can disable and let you re-roll. O'Brien, you can use him to disable upgrades on other people's ships. And Geordi, who if you have a scan token next to you, you can force somebody who's shooting at you to re-roll one of their dice. Oh, I read it backward. You can force a ship you attack to re-roll their defense dice. Sorry about that. And again, every ship you get comes with some other options for crew. Next we'll go on to weapon systems. We'll skip that one. We'll go to this one first. This one's more recognizable. Photon torpedoes. Up here, this is the damage number. This is how many dice you're going to roll. This is the range. Obviously you can't fire photon torpedoes at point blank range. You'll blow yourself up. Down here, this indicates it's a weapon system. And here's your 5 points in Federation. You need a target lock in order to fire torpedoes, which is one of the actions the ship can take, or Picard. You spend your action, or your target lock. You disable this card, and it lets you fire with the 5 attack dice within your front or rear arc, which is nice. Most torpedoes and a lot of the ships only fire out of the front. And this one also lets you convert any rolls of battle stations into critical hits, which comes in really nice. Your other choice is antimatter mines, which I forgot to get the template out for. You discard this card, it's only 1 use, but you put the minefield token within range 1 of your rear arc, and any ships that fly through it get hit by 4 dice worth of attack, and any hits or critical hits are normal, and they don't get to roll any defense dice against it. It's a pretty disgusting weapon. There's the actual template for it. I mean, put it down here next to the ship, you can see it's a pretty good thing to evade. So the downside to it is it stays out, in which case you have to be careful because this thing turns like a boat, and if you run into your own minefield, it's bad. I've actually almost done that. Here we have our 4 shield tokens. The Enterprise D gets 4, the Galaxy class only gets 3, but you have enough there for everything. These disable tokens are what you use when you fire your torpedoes and need to disable them, or you use an ability like Worf's that requires you to disable a crewman. They stay disabled until you spend your action on a turn to remove the token. I like to think of it as once you fire the proton torpedoes, they're going to stay disabled until you reload them, so you have to take the action to reload it. I'm not sure how it works with Worf, but that's the reasoning I use. Every ship you buy is going to come with one of these. This is an auxiliary power token, Whenever you take a red maneuver or perform some special ability that requires one, you put this next to your ship. If you have one of these next to your ship, you cannot perform red maneuvers. You need to perform a green maneuver in order to remove it. You can also not perform an action the turn that you use auxiliary power. This is a critical hit. Once your ship's been critically damaged, you put one of these next to it to remind you that you have an ongoing effect from one of your critical hit cards. And you look at this, it's basically there to remind you to look at the other card and see what the effect is. Originally I was upset that there's only a couple of those in the start, but then I realized you only need one per ship, and every ship comes with one. And it's just a reminder to look at the other cards, so you don't need one for every critical hit. These are your target lock icons. They work pretty simply. They all have matching letters. Oops. You put the blue one next to your ship to show that you're the one that's got the lock. You put the red one next to the target you're locked onto. Each ship can only lock onto one target at a time. Once you're locked, it stays locked until you use it, which is nice. Or an ability removes the lock. The nice thing about that is you can lock onto a ship, and if it later cloaks, you're still locked on. However, once a ship is actually cloaked, you cannot get a lock on because you can't see them. Makes sense. Things like torpedoes make you expend target locks. You can also spend your target lock to re-roll any of the dice that you want during an attack, which is a nice one. Say you roll all misses. You get a sensor lock token and a battle station token, both actions you can take with the ship. There's 2 evasive maneuver tokens because thanks to data we could have 2 of them in one turn. And that's pretty much everything that comes with the Enterprise D. We can get it to focus in here. The detail isn't too bad. A couple glaring mistakes from a Star Trek point of view fan. The front torpedo launcher is missing, and the rear torpedo launcher is missing. Even though the game uses them, they didn't put them on the model. Other than that, I mean, the detail is not spectacular, but it's there. If you wanted to paint a quick coat of paint on there, maybe a wash would make it look much nicer. All the Federation ships have this blue-gray paint. You do get an extra peg for the stands, which I showed in my other videos. And the base here shows the Enterprise D and the Galaxy class. So depending on which one you use, all your stats are there for quick reference. So, anyway, that is the Enterprise D. This one comes in the starter set, and eventually I'm going to get to the other ships as I get them in, and I hope you enjoyed it.